Thank you, Mr. Dohoney, very much for coming, for sharing your time with us.
Yes, sir.
And you, Mr. President, for offering the opportunity for us. A particular concern to me personally is the history of the charter and the history of the city manager system in general, but specifically as it relates to Cincinnati. And I think that's so important in the manager's office, a knowledge of that history and a knowledge of those precedents, if you're going to be effective in this position and if you're going to be comfortable serving as city manager. I wonder if you could take us through what history you have, what understanding you have of the history of the city manager system, and specifically how it relates to the city of Cincinnati.
If I understand your question correctly, I'm aware that you have a history of a council manager form of government, that prior to the change in your charter, the mayor was actually elected as part of the council and was elevated based on the number of votes he or she obtained within the general election. The city manager, historically, both generically and in Cincinnati, was there to provide the professional management of the men and women that work for the city of Cincinnati. I am aware that you modified your charter recently to allow, some would say, more power within the office of the mayor, but that even with that change, the charge of the city manager is still to manage the administrative side of government, to serve as this city's chief executive, both in terms of day-to-day management of the organization and also oversight from a fiscal standpoint. That is fairly consistent with city managers around the country and in many respects around the world. I said earlier that I am a member of ICMA. We have some 8,000 members, so we have city managers overseas as well as in the United States. And in general, that is the role that they play and the kinds of government that they exist within.
You're a member of ICMHA, but do you have credentials from ICMHA?
My official status at present is what's called a credentialed manager candidate. I will be a credentialed manager effective January 1, 2007. So I'm just months shy of having that. I will point out that according to ICMA, of the 8,000 members that we have worldwide, less than 10% actually have the credentialed manager status. So if I am fortunate enough to have this position, then within a number of months of taking it, I would have that status as well.
I think that's a sticking point for me, having grown up here and been a member of the Charter Party, which is where city manager system came from.
Yes, sir.
And that was an outgrowth, as you probably know, from an executive mayor system having gotten out of hand and the political system having gotten out of hand, and patronage was ruling the city until it was almost bankrupt, and so we instituted the city manager system in 1924.
Yes, sir.
As a way of taking the politics out of that position. So far as I know, in my memory, all of the managers who have come here were credentialed when they arrived, and I think that was always historically a very important part of our consideration, that someone had been in a position of that kind before they came to Cincinnati.
Yes, sir.
That was one of my concerns. I wonder if you would share with us, as deputy mayor in Louisville, you're one of, my notes say, one of 12 assistant managers or deputy mayors in Louisville at that time when the merger came about. Is that right?
That's incorrect, sir.
Good. Could you help me out on that?
Yes. Prior to the merger of city-county government, there were 12 elected Board of Aldermen the aldermen were in effect your counterparts. So they were the legislative side of government. During my tenure, for almost 2 years, there was one deputy mayor, and I was it. During the other part of my tenure, there were 2 deputy mayors. Throughout my entire career in the city of Louisville, there were never more than 2 deputy mayors. When the city and county merged, and I had moved on to Lexington when that merger actually took place, Jerry Abramson appointed 4 deputy mayors, and there are 4 today, but there's never been 12.
Were you in consideration for any of those positions when the new mayor took over and the city-county merger took place?
I had already committed to go to Lexington prior to the new mayor coming and prior to the merger actually taking place. I was involved in helping to lay the groundwork for a merger in Louisville, which was both a challenge from a professional standpoint, but it was also quite a challenge from a personal standpoint. But I did believe that it was the right thing for the community, and I stood up for it.
Is that, I guess it struck me that you didn't follow through there and be part of that effort ongoing. I mean, part of what we're coming from in Cincinnati is that we feel, I think those of us on council feel very strongly that we're on the move here, that we really have many, many things to do, many opportunities, and we're determined to do them, and we want a team in place that's up for that challenge, is looking forward to it. And I guess, quite frankly, it struck me that you didn't take that next step in Louisville to be part of what was, I guess, historically the most dramatic change forward in Louisville's history.
Well, I'm not sure I understand, I guess, the basis of your question. The deputy mayor's position in Louisville has always been appointed. It's never been an elective position. I was appointed by a mayor to be the deputy mayor and to run the operations of government. And when the merger took place, the mayor that I worked for was no longer going to be in office. Jerry Abramson was going to be returning and had already determined that the deputy mayors that he had during his first tenure as the mayor would be coming back with him. At the same time, there was a change in administration in Lexington. A new mayor was coming into office there. I was contacted about the chief administrative officer position there, participated in their selection process and was offered that position, and I left my tenure in Louisville and went to Lexington and took over. So it clearly was not about me not being interested in seeing what, in effect, even though I wasn't born there, for the amount of time I've spent, Louisville has been my home. So it's not that I was not interested in seeing my hometown move forward. The government that I manage today is merged, has been merged for over 30 years. It would be my intention, if selected for this position, to come here to be able to move along with this government to try to move the city forward, and would hope to hit the ground running.
Thank you. I don't know what the clock is, Mr. Mayor. I'm
You're
sorry.
down to 59 seconds.
Okay. I think that if I proceeded, Mr. President, it would require an excess of that, so I will defer to the next question.
All right.
Could I add something? Is that
Yes.
to your earlier question, Councilman? If there was a prerequisite that the manager be credentialed upon taking the office, I would have respected that prerequisite. I would not have put my name forward. But the advertisement for this job did not stipulate that a credentialed manager was required.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.